Hi girls and boys, it's Pastor Ed here. This morning we're going to talk about the Easter story, actually the whole story, beginning with Palm Sunday all the way through Holy Week and then ending up with Easter. And once again, I have my resurrection eggs to help me tell the story. It's like a dozen eggs, and so we'll open it up and we'll tell the story. And uh-oh, my egg carton is empty. I think they took them and hid them for the Easter egg hunt. Oh man, we're gonna have to go searching for the resurrection eggs again. All right, come on with me. Okay. Now, hopefully they're not too well hidden that we can't find them. Gotta keep your eye out for colored eggs. So, if you see them anywhere. Oh, we got one there. All right, I found the first one. Cleaned up this room real nice. Here we go. Found another one. Got two out of the 12. Alrighty, I guess we'll go down the preschool wing and see the classrooms and see if we have any. We'll just take it room by room. Ah, look at this, on the balcony of the playhouse. Number 3. Okay. See if there's any more in this room. At home, maybe you could help me out. Although I wouldn't be able to hear you. But you could be looking along with me. Mr. Josh, I'm drawing a blank here. Any ideas?
I don't know, what did they usually carry eggs in, Pastor?
What boys are you? Oh, baskets, right? Really? Sure enough. Got another one. Alrighty. Let's keep going. Down the hallway. If it's anything like last year, there's probably one in every room or two. We'll just have to see. Let's try this classroom. Look at the baby dolls. They've got one there in their crib. Alrighty. We're up to 5. Oh. There's one in here. Good thing I got it before they fried it up in the frying pan. Have fried eggs. All right, we're halfway there. Let's see how it goes. Well, these rooms are closed for some reason. I bet that means there's nothing in there. Oh, I spotted this one as soon as I walked in. Cupcakes, except the egg is in the cupcake container. Okay. Uh-oh. Gonna rescue another egg from being cooked. Alrighty, we're up to 8. 4 more to go. We got none on that stove, that's good. Any ideas? Oh! This egg's trying to get away in the Jeep. Okay. Alrighty. We're up to 9. Let's keep going. Well, keep watching along with me while here in the hallway. I bet you there's nothing in the hallway. Oh, there's more classrooms down here. So maybe in the fellowship hall classrooms. I think we'll start with this one with your class, Mr. Josh. Oh, there's a basket and lots of, there's eggs. They're opened up, but look what's in the middle there. That's one of ours. Okay, number 10. We're getting close. Oh, good. Nobody's trying to cook them up again. Did you see that one, boys and girls? In here in the chalk container. All right, we've got 11. All right, we'll start heading back to the church because there's only one more. I don't know where that one might be. This way. There's the palms left over from Palm Sunday. Nope, nothing in that basket. I think I'm stumped with this last one.
Oh, I see some color over here, Pastor.
Oh, wow. That light blue kind of blends. Look at that. Jesus lives. That's perfect with the crosses. Alrighty, we've got all 12. We can go back in and tell the story of the resurrection eggs. Come on with me. Okay, here we are back. I've got my carton of resurrection eggs, and this time we found the eggs. We rescued a few of them from getting boiled or fried, and we can use them to tell the story. So the first one that we found, what color is this? Yeah, blue. Let's see what's in the blue one. Okay. There's a donkey. The story is that on Palm Sunday, Jesus was coming into Jerusalem, and all kinds of people were coming in to celebrate the Passover, and they realized who he was. They were so excited, and they got a donkey, and they put some garments over it so he could sit on it, and then people put palm branches, tree branches down in his way. So that's kind of the way a king would arrive. And at that point, they were all excited that Jesus was the Messiah, the king. So the donkey that he rode into Jerusalem on Palm Sunday. We have a light pink one here. And when we open it up, you have 3 coins. The story is that one of Jesus' disciples, his name was Judas Iscariot, went to the religious authorities who were very jealous of Jesus and mad at Jesus, kind of wanted to get rid of Jesus. And he said that he would show them and lead them to where Jesus would be, that they could arrest him. And it is said that he accepted 30 pieces of silver for betraying Jesus. Well, the next one is light purple. And when we open that up, we have a chalice or cup. The story is that on the day that we remember as Maundy Thursday, Jesus gathered with his disciples in an upper room to celebrate the Passover. Again, that was why everybody was flocking into Jerusalem. And he took the bread and said, "This is my body." And then he took the cup and said, "This is my blood." And they didn't quite understand what that meant yet. But of course, now we do. And we continue to celebrate that meal. We don't call it the Last Supper. We call it the Lord's Supper or Holy Communion. Sometimes we call it the Eucharist, which means thanksgiving, because Jesus, when he took the bread and the wine, he gave thanks and gave it to his disciples. And from there, we have the orange one. And here we have the praying hands. The Bible tells us that when Jesus and the disciples left that upper room after celebrating the Last Supper together, which they didn't entirely understand what that meant, they went to a place called the Garden of Gethsemane. And Jesus prayed there. He went on kind of by himself. Unfortunately, the disciples were tired. They fell asleep. But Jesus went off by himself to pray. And he prayed to God, his Father, and said, if this cup could be removed from me, meaning if I don't have to go through what's going to happen, but if I have to, not my will, but your will be done. Because he knew that something was going to happen. He probably knew that he was going to be betrayed and that he would probably die, which in fact is what happened. The next one is green. Well, sure enough, Jesus was arrested there in the garden. He was taken first to the house of the high priest, where he was questioned and charged. They then took him to the Roman governor, to Pontius Pilate. He was mistreated. One of the things that they did was kind of whip him. They scourged him. This is just a piece of leather to kind of remember that. The whipping, it was even worse than that, because the kind of whip that they used on him had sharp pieces of stone or glass attached to it, so that it would be really painful. And Jesus endured that. And from there, or as part of that, they took some thorns and they fashioned them into a crown. And they put that crown of thorns on Jesus's head, which again, the thorns had those pointy pieces that actually cut into his forehead and around his head and probably caused him to bleed. Just another way of his suffering, but also they made fun of him and humiliated him. So Jesus, really suffered at the hands of those who had arrested him. Well, then, as the story goes, we're to the yellow egg. Jesus was nailed to the cross. This cross is made out of nails to make it look like a cross. He was nailed to a cross. That was a way that they would put criminals to death. And so it was a very painful kind of suffering that Jesus was crucified there. Probably crucified with two other criminals, one on his right and one on his left there on the cross with him. We have a light green egg. When we open that one up, you've probably seen one of these or more of these in the game, dice. And we roll dice, in games. So that would be in most games six moves on the board, on the game board. In this case, the soldiers rolled the dice to see who would get Jesus's clothing when he was put to death on the cross. Well, Jesus hung there for a while. He didn't die right away. It was getting to be later in the day because he was Jewish, and his Jewish followers, it was Friday, and the Sabbath, their holy day, their day of worship, began at sundown. And so they asked if they could take him down from the cross. They weren't sure whether he was dead, so one of the Roman soldiers took a spear and stabbed him just to make sure that Jesus was in fact dead. And so when they realized that, they took him down from the cross. And they prepared his body for burial. They wrapped it in burial cloths. Now, because the Sabbath was coming, because the Friday night was coming and they had to do this quickly, they didn't prepare the body the way they would permanently, or, so that prepare the body for burial completely, I guess I'd say. But they quickly wrapped it in cloths in order to put him in a tomb before the Sabbath came. And so they put him in a tomb. There was a follower of Jesus by the name of Joseph of Arimathea. He had a cave carved out as a tomb that he owned, and he allowed them to put Jesus's body there. And then to make sure that nothing would happen, nobody would come and steal the body or tamper with the body, they rolled a big stone in front of the tomb to make sure. And in one of the gospel stories, they even put 2 soldiers there to guide it, to make sure that nobody could come in and tamper or touch the body. Well, that was again on Friday. So Saturday was the Sabbath, and so Jesus' followers were observing the Sabbath. They were Jewish, so they celebrated the Sabbath. And then early on the first day of the week, which is Sunday, and so we don't know whether this was after sundown Saturday night, which was when the next day would begin, or perhaps even more likely, very early in the morning on Sunday morning. Some of the women came with spices and so forth because they wanted to prepare Jesus's body properly. Remember, they just put him in the tomb, wrapped him real kind of quick because it was getting late, and they needed to do that on Friday before the Sabbath began. So now the women were going to come to do it properly. When they got there, the stories are a little bit different. Did the guards fall asleep? The stone, though, was rolled away. They peek in, and the last egg shows us what they found. Nothing. When they looked into the tomb, it was empty. The cloths that they had wrapped the body in were folded neatly. Some of the accounts say that there was either a young man or 2 young men, perhaps angels, who told them, "Why do you look for him? He's not here. He told you that he would rise again in 3 days." And in fact, that was the only explanation that made sense. The guards, who guarded the tomb, the stone, nobody tampered with it, but Jesus was gone. He had risen from the dead. They couldn't believe it at first. They were so excited. They went and told the others, and a couple of the other disciples quickly ran and looked in. Sure enough, he wasn't there. Even they didn't know what to do with it. Later that day, a couple of disciples, not the 12, one of the 12 disciples, but 2 other disciples were walking along the road to a place called Emmaus, and a stranger came and was walking along with them, and he said, what are you talking about? They said, "Oh, didn't you hear the news, what had happened? How Jesus, who the prophet, he was so great in deeds and in his speaking, and are you the only one who doesn't know what happened? We had hoped that he would, restore Israel and all these things, but he died on the cross." And it was then that they stopped to eat, and this stranger sat down at the table with them and broke bread and the wine, and they realized their eyes were open, and it was Jesus, and they ran back to Jerusalem. And the Gospels tell stories that night in Jerusalem, Jesus appeared to his disciples. The risen Jesus appeared to his disciples to tell them that he had conquered death, and that by believing in him, they would too. So that's the wonderful Easter story, the story of the resurrection that we like to tell using the resurrection eggs. So in your classes this morning, you're going to talk about that, and I hope you enjoy that. And then next Sunday, on Easter Sunday, I hope you're able to come to church and watch our Easter morning service as well. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.